Hey there, it's Dan Wilcox from KCRW, and I have the distinct pleasure of sitting here with actor Jim Parsons, who's best known for his Emmy-nominated role as the genius, albeit neurotic, physicist Dr. Sheldon Cooper on the CBS sitcom The Big Bang Theory. Welcome, Jim.
Thank you for having me.
Today we're going to be playing excerpts of songs that have inspired him over the years as part of KCRW's guest DJ project. And so, Jim, what do you have for us today?
The first one I have is Suspicious Minds by Elvis. I found Elvis musically in my grandmother's house through albums that they had. And my image of Elvis that I knew from my grandmother's records was of a guy that managed to be both cooler than I could even fathom being, and a better son at the same time. He was just such a good mama's boy and bought his mom that house and what have you. And I thought, you know, how are you doing? You're outdoing me in both ways. But anyway, so the reason Suspicious Minds sticks out to me is because when I first heard that, or it first came into my consciousness, I could not believe the theatricality about it, and between the backup singers and the horns and whatever, it was, you know, I guess this is much more touching on what we, you know, what do you mean you couldn't believe Elvis had theatricality? But like I say, I was very much more the younger one within my head.
That doesn't sound like the Elvis that
right,
I
that's know. And then I identified with that. I was like, oh, I get that. That is an Elvis that I do have something in common with. This song gives me the feeling of a show that I really want to be a part of.
We can't go on together with suspicious minds, and we can't build our dreams on suspicious minds. Oh, let our love survive, or dry the tears from your eyes. Let's don't let a good thing die.
Well, all right, that was Elvis with Suspicious Minds. And, okay, this next one is, you've got some explaining to do. What gives? What
Are
do we
you
got?
upset that Madonna's on the list?
No, not at all. I'm just, it's interesting, and not only just Madonna, but just this particular song. And I'm very curious to hear.
Okay. My relationship with this song, Don't Tell Me, is it was an odd confluence of events. I was in grad school for theater, and my best friend in the program was a big Madonna fan. I had been young and I had enjoyed Madonna, like the Borderline stuff, but I hadn't really thought much about Madonna since then, I think. I knew she was there. How could you not?
Yeah, it's kind of hard not to.
Exactly. But he was a fanatic. And keep going in time. We're about to graduate. We're working on our thesis projects, which were these one-man shows, and we'd all perform them in about an hour period, me and my class. And while we're in the middle of working on them, or towards the end of it actually, I find out that my dad passed away in a car accident. And, I mean, life is just completely turned upside down as far as what's happening. And very specifically for me, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I'm about to graduate from grad school. What does my family need from me? What does my mother, what does my sister need from me as far as this life-changing event that has occurred? And at some point it just hit me that I will only be of service to my family by doing what I need to do and my path. And that all that other kind of things of how we're going to help each other, that's all going to work out. So I went back and I decided I'm going to do my thesis project, I'm going to graduate, and we're going to go from there. And when I got back, my class was like, you get to pick the song that we're going to bow to. And so I picked Don't Tell Me by Madonna, which I really liked and thought it was a good idea. The only thing I will say is that beginning part, that stuttering in the music, really kind of came back to bite us in the ass, because when you are taking a bow and music starts up and then it's out, the audience is very confused as to what's happening, and they think the sound system in the theater is going out. And so I'm still happy I picked it, but I don't think I'd do it again, because it wasn't really the best thing to take a bow to.
Okay, that was Don't Tell Me by Madonna. I'm sitting here with Jim Parsons, the actor who's going through some music that means a lot to him, and we are moving on to our next pick, and why don't you tell us about it?
Classical song. It's Sheep May Safely Graze by Bach. I first got to know this song through the piano. I was taking lessons. I went through a few different teachers, and the final teacher I had, Mrs. Griffith, we really connected at a very soulful level. The lessons were good, and we got a lot of work done, but I'd be lying if I said there wasn't something therapeutic about them. But it mostly came out through the work, and this was a good example. We played Sheep May Safely Graze as, I believe they call it 4 hands, 2 pianos, where she would play a part, and I would play a part. You know, that's how the sheet music was laid out. And it's kind of unsurprising looking back that this was such a good fit for me, because there was a touch of acting in it for me, you know, in that we had to relate to each other. We had to answer each other and talk together basically through the piano in this song. And it was just as close to a spiritual experience, really, playing that song with her. Several years after she and I played it together, that on my own I did take out the sheet music again, and for the first time ever looked at her part, and I played her part. And there was an odd sensation for me of, because I was so focused on learning my part of it, and to go back and try and play her part, which not only did you find it difficult, but also so beautiful on its own. And I'd never heard her part on its own because I'd never practiced her part. And it was that feeling of something somebody was doing for you that you didn't realize at the time, you know? And there was something kind of bittersweet in discovering that, and mostly sweet because you're like, aw, which is kind of odd to explain, I guess, because she was just doing her part. But we were a team playing it.
Okay, that was Sheep May Safely Graze, a piece by Bach. And let's move on to our next pick. What do you got for us?
This is off the Pixies' Doolittle album. It's called Number 13, Baby. This album, in particular, the Doolittle album, was very much a soundtrack to a certain time in my life. And that would have been during undergrad, when I was just getting back involved into doing theater again. I'd kind of taken some time off from acting after high school. I didn't know if I wanted to do it. And I was very fortunate to become quick friends with a couple of people, a guy and a girl who were dating, and got a lot of work done, both in the way of becoming better actors, or at least attempting to, literally doing a lot of theater shows together. We were just getting cast in shows together and stuff, and which was really fun. And we were doing a lot of work just growing up as very young adults. And we played the heck out of this album. And it's funny because I listened to this album, and I don't listen to it a lot anymore, and partly it's because it kind of makes me a little sad for what's gone, and oddly a little anxious. Not in a bad way, but there's a quality to so many of these Pixies songs in this album that the words and the songs themselves, this one very much so, I think, exemplifies kind of going back to that melancholy thing. And there's a little hint of, it's not haunting, but it's almost, once again, something's not quite all the way right.
And that was the Pixies with the song Number 13, Baby. And we are moving on to our next pick. And why don't you tell us about it?
Deacon Blues by Steely Dan. One of the things it reminds me of, it's reminiscent of the theme from Taxi, Angela's song. There's something that does to me, too, that this one kind of does. It allows me to feel I'm kind of cool with things in a way that I don't really by nature. I don't just mean that I'm not that cool, but I'm not that cool with things. There's something about this. They seem okay with it all. It's not all good. It's not all going to work out, and that's okay. And there is a must go on despite the melancholy about it. You know, there is a driven force, the heartbeat, if you will, that goes, not just life goes on, but the fight continues. I mean, I talk about hopelessly deep on this Steely Dan song, but you get what I'm saying. It's once again not as much the words as just the quality of that sound of the music.
Jim, thank you so much for coming down here and sharing these songs with us.
I appreciate it very much. I had no idea how close to therapy it would be, and I don't think I have to pay you at the end of it, so this is wonderful.
We'll talk about that later.
Okay.
For a complete track listing and to find these songs online, go to kcrw.com/guestdjproject.